Health concerns related to the holiday. It may be the biggest drinking day of the year this weekend. Of course, South Boston celebrates St. Patrick's Day with a parade and a lot of beer.
Yeah, joining us now, Dr. Scott Hadlin, Chief of Young, Adult, and Adolescent Medicine at Mass General for Children. Dr. Hadlin, thanks for being here. Happy Friday.
Same to you.
All right, so as you know, city officials say they will have, quote, zero tolerance for public drinking along the parade route. We know it still happens, though. Is that the right approach?
Yeah, you know, I can't proclaim to be an expert in public safety or law enforcement, but as a clinician who thinks about the effects of alcohol on people, you know, I think this is a good idea. You know, we know that alcohol lowers people's inhibitions, and this is an event happening outdoors involving people mixing with vehicles, you know, glass bottles of beer. You know, there's a lot of opportunity here for injury, and so I worry about that. I think the other thing that's really important to keep in mind is that, you know, this is people's neighborhood, right? This is South Boston is where people live, where they have their homes, and you know, some things that I think about that I think can help sort of instill some empathy in people as to why you might not want to drink in public. You know, I care for patients who are in recovery from alcohol problems, and they tell me events like this they feel like they can't even go to because the public drinking is so pervasive. And then you think about kids that are at the event, and we know that kids are really impressionable to the behaviors of adults that are role model to them.
Okay, well, but bringing the reality that some people, of course, will be drinking. If you do have a friend or a family member who seems ill, they've had too many, what should you be doing to help them?
Yeah, I think safety first on a holiday like this. We know that people drink in really large quantities, and so just large quantities of alcohol alone can result in some people, you know, being more susceptible to having an injury or even sort of having alcohol poisoning. And so you want to look out for people. I think the other thing to be on the lookout for, just from a safety perspective, is making sure that your drink doesn't get spiked. Every year, the Boston Police Department tells us that per calendar year, there are about 100 cases of people who have their drinks spiked, and that puts people at risk as well on days like this.
What are the symptoms to look out for should that happen, or you suspect that that may have happened?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky because often they look like the symptoms of somebody who's had too much to drink, right? So you want to look out for somebody who may be appearing to have a difficult time walking or talking, or maybe seeming to lose consciousness or may have lost consciousness, often out of proportion to how much they've actually drank. Maybe this happens after they've only had, say, like 2 or 3 beers. That might be a sign. And, you know, a lot of the drugs that are used are often ones that make people sedated and sleepy. And so what you want to do is, if you feel like somebody may have had this happen to them, don't leave them alone. I think sometimes people also want to see if they can get someone to throw up as a way to kind of get it out of their body. That's not a safe thing to do, so we don't recommend that. What we do recommend is that people contact medical authorities, call 911, make sure that that person gets the medical services that they need so that they can be safe. Safety first.
Okay, well, we hope everyone has a safe holiday and enjoys responsibly. Thank you, Dr. Hadlin.
Thank you.